Would you say I was a fellow who stole cats?
No, sir.
His ready response pleased me not a little. No hesitation, no humming and hawing, just no, sir. Exactly what I expected you to say. Just what anyone at the drones or elsewhere would say. And yet cat stealing is what I have been accused of.
Indeed, sir.
By a scarlet-faced blighter named Cook. And forthwith, if that's the expression, I told him about my strange passing lightly over my not having trusted his directions on reaching the high road. He listened attentively, and when I had finished, came as near to smiling as he ever does. That is to say, a muscle at the corner of his mouth twitched slightly, as if some flying object, such as a mosquito, had settled there momentarily.
I think I can explain, sir.
It seemed incredible. I felt like Dr. Watson hearing Sherlock Holmes talking about the 147 varieties of tobacco ash and the time it takes parsley to settle in the butter dish. "This is astounding, Jeeves," I said. "Professor Moriarty wouldn't have lasted a minute with you. You really mean the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle have come together and fallen into their place?"
Yes, sir.
You know all?
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Elementary, sir. I found the habitués of the goose and grasshopper a ready source of information.
Oh, you asked the boys in the back room?
Yes, sir.
And what did they tell you?
It appears that bad blood exists between Mr. Cook and Colonel Briscoe.
They don't like each other, you mean?
Precisely, sir.
I suppose it's often that way in the country. Not much to do except think what a tick your neighbour is.
It may be as you say, sir, but in the present case there is more solid ground for hostility, at least on Mr. Cook's part. Colonel Briscoe is chairman of the Board of Magistrates, and in that capacity recently imposed a substantial fine on Mr. Cook for moving pigs without a permit.
I nodded intelligently. I could see how this must have rankled. I do not keep pigs myself, but if I did, I should strongly resent not being allowed to give them a change of air and scenery without getting permission from a board of magistrates. Are we in Russia?
Furthermore—
Oh, that wasn't all.
No, sir. Furthermore, they are rival owners of racehorses, and that provides another source of friction.
Why?
Sir?
I don't see why. Most of the big owners are very chummy. They love one another like brothers.
The big owners, yes, sir. It is different with those whose activities are confined to small local meetings. There the rivalry is more personal and acute. In the forthcoming contest at Bridmouth-on-Sea, the race, in the opinion of my informants at the Goose and Grasshopper, will be a duel between Colonel Briscoe's Simla and Mr. Cook's Potato Chip. All the other entries are negligible. There is consequently no little friction between the two gentlemen as the date of the contest approaches, and it is of vital importance to both of them that nothing shall go wrong with the training of their respective horses. Rigid attention to training is essential.
Well, he didn't need to tell me that. An old hand like myself knows how vital rigid training is for success on the turf. I have not forgotten the time at Aunt Dahlia's place in Worcestershire, when I had a heavy bet on Marlene Cooper, the gardener's niece, in the girls' under-15 egg and spoon race on village sports day, and on the eve of the meeting she broke training, ate pounds of unripe gooseberries, and got abdominal pains which prevented her showing up at the starting post. But Jeeves, I said, while all this is of absorbing interest, what I want to know is why Cook got into such a frenzy about this cat. You ought to have seen his blood pressure. It shot up like a rocket. He couldn't have been more emotional if he had been a big shot in the Foreign Office, and I, a heavily veiled woman diffusing a strange exotic scent, whom he had caught getting away with the naval treaty.
Fortunately, I am in a position to elucidate the mystery, sir. One of the habitués with whom I fraternized at the Goose and Grasshopper chances to be an employee of Mr. Cook, and he furnished me with the facts in the case. The cat was a stray which appeared one morning in the stable-yard, and Potato Chip took an instant fancy to it. This, I understand, is not unusual with highly bred horses, though more often it is a goat or a sheep which engages their affection.
This was quite new stuff to me. First I'd ever heard of it. Goat, I said.
Yes, sir.
Or a sheep.
Yes, sir.
You mean love at first?